estate program. The views expressed are not necessarily those of the management or ownership of SKOR North, KSTP AM 1500.
This is the place to talk about everything related to the home, buying or selling real estate, financing and improvements that can help increase your home's value. This is Minnesota Home Talk on SKOR North. Here's your host, Jason Walgrave.
No, Mike Overson.
Well, Jason was going to host it this morning, Evan.
Yeah, why didn't that happen? I don't know.
Well, we had him on the phone line, but his Apple IIe computer that is located in North Dakota right now, and I mean, nothing against North Dakota, but they still got dial-up out there.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm going to lay the blame on the pipes on this one. It seems much more like it was
Operator?
Operator or the computer itself. Even that dial-up line, he was able to get to the actual interface, but getting connected on the other hand was not happening.
Not happening. Yeah, I can't dog on North Dakota. I mean, I grew up in small town Minnesota. Same thing out there too. Didn't even know what the internet was until like 2 years ago. Anywho, you were listening to Minnesota Home Talk. We're here every Saturday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. And we talk about real estate. We talk about mortgages. We talk about credit repair. We talk about anything that you have questions on when it deals with anything revolving around real estate. We give away certain prizes, certain winnings, if you will, every single week. The giveaways we have today, we have 2 items here. There is one of those home and garden shows coming up on March 2nd through the 6th. We have tickets to give away for that home and garden show. And then we also have some Timberwolves tickets. So we got 2 pair of tickets, so 4 seats total, all right next to each other for a Timberwolves game coming up here. And we have those as a giveaway too. How do you win these prizes? How do you get these giveaways, Evan?
Well, I know the answer to this one.
Do you want to explain to the listeners?
Best question of the morning is going to win those Timberwolves tickets.
Absolutely.
And that means in order to get in on that drawing, you need to call in 651-647-2910. Ask your question that way. Or you can text us. Our text in line this morning is 763-443-5664. One more time, that's 763-443-5664 for your text and questions. Best question of the morning wins the Timberwolves tickets, but everyone that asks a question is going to be getting tickets to the Home and Garden Show, correct?
Absolutely, yep. So you can call in or text in with a question, and you will get free tickets to that Home and Garden Show. And then out of everyone who calls or texts in their question this morning, we'll pick a winner for those Timberwolves tickets. And you can choose basically any game moving forward here for those Timberwolves tickets that you want to go to. So the game times are open as far as that goes. So we got a lot talked about this morning. We're going to do some hot deals. We're going to talk about those. We're going to talk about 10 single-family trends that likely will influence home design in 2022. So we're going to talk about that. This is a article from Zillow, Houzz, and the NKBA. Which, if you don't know what that is, Evan, Jason told me that's the National Kickboxing Association.
Oh.
It's actually not.
Okay.
When I actually read the article, it's actually the National Kitchen and Bath Association.
I like kickboxing more, if I'm going to be real here.
I know a kickboxer. I mean, he's not just a kickboxer. He's like a general MMA guy. But he is very tuned in to... So that would not surprise an article like this. By the way, I didn't even know there was a National Kitchen and Bath Association.
I mean, let's be real. There's an association for pretty much everything out there. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that later too. Phone lines are open. That number, Evan?
651-647-2910. One more time. That's 651-647-2910. And of course, if you're watching us online on Facebook or YouTube, it's right there in the bottom banner.
Perfect.
651-647-2910.
Text line is
763-443-5664.
There we go. All right, let's go into some hot listings.
Sweet.
We're going to start in Savage here. We got a fresh listing, 14781 Meadowood Drive in Savage, Minnesota. This is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 3-car garage home. This one has 2,081 finished square feet. This one is in the Burnsville Egan Savage School District, so School District 191. It's in the Dufferin Park development there in Savage. Very nice area. Again, 14781 Meadowood Drive in Savage. And this one is currently listed at $425,000.
Looks like a real nice property.
Yeah, that is a nice one. That one will go quick, but a lot of homes go quick these days, Evan.
Ain't that the truth? I'm sure we'll be diving in on that today.
Staying in Savage here, we got a lot here over on Sumter Avenue South. This one is 14649 Sumter Avenue South in Savage. This one is a open lot here. It's 0.64 acres, so good size lot there. This one is listed at $110,000. Again, this one is at 14649 Sumter Avenue South in Savage. Staying in Savage here, we have a to-be-built house by Pebble Creek Custom Homes. The home that you see here is one of their models that they have built in other lots. I know there's one for sure in Prior Lake. It is my favorite floor plan. It's my favorite house that they've ever built. This one is at 146XX Sumter Avenue South in Savage. The house that you see here has 2,400 finished square feet above ground, and you have 2,400 feet below grade that you could finish off as well. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 3-car garage. This one to be built, as you see here, $995,000. We have a big piece of land down in Dundas, Minnesota. This one is at 1736 Millersburg Boulevard West in Dundas. This is...
You can see right here on the photo, by the way, it's right off of 35.
Yep, 35 in the Dundas exit. I've actually been down there. I've actually been on that farm down there, that farmhouse that you see in there. They got a really cool old barn in there that we went through. Obviously, that could possibly come down, but this is 130.6 acres. This one's listed at $5.2 million right off the 35 and Dundas exit down there. Again, this one's at 1736 Millersburg Boulevard West in Dundas. Let's see, going to Prior Lake here. We have another to be built by Pebble Creek Custom Homes. This one here is 16080 Sims Court Southeast in Prior Lake. This house that you see there, this is a 5-bedroom, 5-bath, 3-car garage home. It's got almost 3,000 square feet finished above grade. This one here is at $950,000. Again, it's at 16080 Sims Court Southeast in Prior Lake. We've got some lots available in Prior Lake as well. Sims Court. So there's a few left, I believe, in the Sims Court development there. You can see this is a cul-de-sac development. There's 9 total lots. Every single lot is 0.64 acres or larger, and they all back up to a preserve, so you'll never have neighbors right behind you. These are right across the street from Hidden Oaks and Twin Oaks middle schools there. Super cool location. Great lots. These lots range around $165,000 for price, and it's at 16094 Sims Court Southeast.
And these are the ones that back up to the nature preserve, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Pretty sweet lots to be building on.
Very nice lots. There's a few homes that are being built up there right now. There's one I think that is finished, completely finished, or it's going to be real close to being finished here. One of my daughters goes to Twin Oaks, and so I literally drive by it every single morning when I drop her off at school. So I see the progress on there, but it's a super cool development, and the houses in there are immaculate.
Yeah.
Going to Pequot Lakes here. This is Evan's favorite listing. We're at 4572 Main Street in Pequot Lakes.
I would buy this house if it was just a tiny bit closer.
This one is...
by house, I mean formerly church, formerly hair salon, potentially a great rental property, but also awesome open floor plan living.
Yep.
A lot of potential in this property.
So this here, this has the foundation size is 1,450 square feet. Your built was 1908. So you could kind of do whatever you want with this. It's being used right now, I believe, as a residential rental.
Yep.
But it is zoned, so you can do business, you can do commercial, or you can do residential in there. Wheelchair accessible already. Kind of options are endless on this one. This is 4572 Main Street, Pequot Lakes. This one is listed at $125,000. Ooh, this one might be your favorite listing though.
Oh yeah, you mean our favorite property down in Red Wing?
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is an amazing property. This is truly probably one of a kind in Minnesota. It would be very tough to find a property that's like this one. It's at 27858 Greens Point Road in Red Wing, Minnesota. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, 4-car garage. The lot is what sets this thing apart. This one is right on Lake Pepin, and it has 405 feet of lake shore, and it's all sand. 405 feet of sandy lake shore in Minnesota, right on Lake Pepin. This one here is listed at $2 million. Again, it's 27858 Greens Point Road in Red Wing, and as you see in the pictures, the house very unique, but the lot completely amazing.
This is one of those ones that, regardless of if you're in the market for a house like that or not, I still recommend looking at it. It's a really cool, unique home, and it's an amazing piece of property that is, even if you're not in the market, that's fine. I completely get it. I can't afford to buy this place, but it is an aspirational property.
Yep.
And my goodness, what a great slice of the shoreline there.
Yep. Truly amazing. I've never seen anything like that in Minnesota before. It's great. Let's see here.
I think that's all of them.
Well, we got Docks Harbor.
Oh, Docks Harbor.
Do you want to own and manage a resort up on Mille Lacs? Now is your chance. Docks Harbor on the north side of Mille Lacs is for sale. It's at 39629 State Highway 18 in Aiken, Minnesota, listed at $2.5 million. I'm trying to look for some of the stats here. It's got RV hookups. It's got boat slips. It's got one main lodge, plus I believe 3 other buildings up there. You can see in the pictures here of what it looks like.
Yep, it's got multiple permanent structures. I think it has 32 RV hookup points and currently enough boat slips for like 16 boats, but with room for expansion if you needed to add more. It's a great piece of turnkey.
Yeah, it's ready to go. Literally go up there and it's yours, and it's fully operational. Great location right on the north side of Mille Lacs there. Mm-hmm. This one, again, is at 39629 State Highway 18 in Aiken, Minnesota. It's called Docks Harbor right now, and it's listed at $2.5 million. Now, Sue Marty on the team.
That's
she's
great.
She's with RE/MAX Advantage Plus and the Minnesota Real Estate team. She has a listing coming soon here. This one is at 36 Winnipeg Avenue East in St. Paul. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath house, 1,980 square feet. Looks like a nice property here based on the pictures. Very nice and clean inside. Actually surprised that it's listed at $269. I figured it would be listed more, so it's probably, if there's a deal to be had out there, it looks like this might be the deal to be had out there. But again, it's at 36 Winnipeg Avenue East in St. Paul. 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 1,980 square feet.
That's
and
pretty sizable.
Going to be listed at $269.9. For more information on these hot listings or any other listings out there, feel free to plug in with us. You can visit us 24/7 online at minnesotahometalk.com. You can connect directly with Jason. You can set up your own custom home search. You can connect with me, Mike Overson with Illuminate Home Loans, or you can connect with any of our amazing partners that we have that's part of the radio show. We have a guy or gal for any situation. So if you're looking for anything dealing with real estate, maybe it's an insurance agent. We happen to have a very good insurance agent with us.
Let's not oversell it. A pretty good insurance.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
sometimes I sleep in.
better than some, not as good as others. No, just kidding. He is the man. He is the encyclopedia of insurance. That's what I call you, Evan.
Well, that's I mean, that makes me sound really boring.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. You're not boring, but insurance sometimes is pretty boring.
Hey, listen, finance man.
So that's our argument, right? Mm-hmm. What's the most boring piece of buying a home? You got the real estate side, you got the mortgage side, you got insurance, and you got title.
Title's the most boring.
It's got to be the most, right?
100%.
Yeah.
They're the only ones that don't sit in on the radio show, so obviously that's the most boringest one.
And I think they're the only ones where no one knows what they do. Well, almost no one knows what they do.
Yeah, I mean, we all can point to all sorts of things that consumers don't know about our jobs before they go through the process, kind of thing. But definitely, I think title, even after you have finished the buying process on your first property or whatever, I would say most people have no idea what the title company actually does.
Because I ask most of my buyers. Most of the people I work with, they'll be like, so I'm going through, right? So I'm going, here's the fees. So here's lender fees, and here's your appraisal and stuff like that. Here's your title company fees. Oh, do you guys know what the function of a title company when you're buying a house?
It's just to charge me more money.
Yep. They're just like, nope, no idea. And I had no idea before I got in this business. You know what I mean?
That's true. I will say, definitely coming into this, I knew zero. I didn't even know title companies really existed. You know what I mean? Like, I passively knew from advertising or whatever, but obviously I knew about mortgage brokers, and I knew about real estate agents, and I knew about insurance for sure. But the title company was not something that I really understood at all until I had done this program probably for about a year.
Right. And that's what it is. So yeah, I would agree with you. I think title's the most boring. Outside of that, man, I don't know.
Depending on your perspective, all of this is pretty boring. You know what I mean? Like, if you're talking to the average 13-year-old, who are, of course, the arbiters of what actually is cool, because that's the next generation and whatnot, they're going to say all of this is really quite boring.
Yep.
This is all boring adult stuff.
True story. Is there a TikTok video that explains it? That's what they would say.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we need to do, Evan. We need to make TikTok videos that explain what we do.
We need a Minnesota Home Talk TikTok page.
Yes, we do. Okay, we're going to look into that.
It's the truth of that statement actually makes me sad.
Right?
Because it means that, oh man, that's like a whole new social media thing I'll have
we need to hire a 15-year-old.
I got to figure out how TikTok works. How does this Snapchat work?
Right?
I don't get it. I'm old and technology has left me behind.
Do I have to do a dance? I'm not going to open that page if I have to dance.
Sea shanties have been really big. Are we doing a Minnesota Home Talk sea shanty?
We're gonna have to hire a 15-year-old intern to set that up for us.
Yeah,
that's we'll get on that. We'll get on that, Jason. We'll send you the bill for that. Appreciate it. All right. So what do we got here? So we were talking about Minnesota Home Talk. So we got amazing preferred partners on there. Anything and everything dealing with real estate.
How does this Snapchat work?
Right.
See, technology.
Yep, it's hard.
Yeah,
technology's hard. You can connect with any of our partners. So literally, if you have the need, landscapers, insurance agent, CPAs, obviously finance, home finance. We got commercial finance. We got real estate agent. You name it, we got everything dealing with real estate covered there. And we've Jason and I and Evan have actually personally used every single partner that's on the radio show. So for whatever industry that they're in, we've personally used them. So they have been vetted, and we feel that they are the best of the best in the industry. So definitely feel free to plug in with our preferred partners on our website. Again, MinnesotaHometalk.com. They're all listed on the left side of the page. All right. Phone lines are open. What's that phone line number, Evan?
651-647-2910.
Text line is also open, and that number is
763-443-5664.
Anyone with a question this morning, call in or text in, is going to get free Home and Garden Show tickets. That's from March 2nd to March 6th. And I believe it's in Shakopee or Savage. I can't remember. It's either in Shakopee or Savage down there. And then the best question of the morning, so that we're going to pick one of the questions to win those T-Wolves tickets, and you're going to get 4 Timberwolves tickets all next to each other at a game of your choice that we'll give away again to that best question of the morning. So definitely feel free to plug in with us here about any real estate or mortgage questions. All right, so let's talk about interest rate.
Before we do interest rates, which I know are the most exciting thing in the whole show.
They are.
Why don't we take the question that we got to our voicemail line?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that way we can get this out of the way.
Perfect.
So any other questions that come in, you're going to be competing with this one. Let's take a listen.
Alan, I just bought a house in Laguna Vista, Texas. $400,000 on the golf course. If it was in Minnesota, it'd be a little over $1 million. I closed a couple of months ago. Haven't got around to getting homeowners insurance. In fact, I'm thinking of even not insuring it.
I'm assuming
but I'm wondering what's the sweet spot in deductible, where Is it 5%, 10%, 15%? I can cover, 50, 60, 100,000 or cover the whole price if need be. But I'm trying to find the sweet spot. Down here, the agents are talking 1, 2, and 3% deductible at rates that are about double what I pay on both of my Minnesota homes. So rather than me do a lot of research, I'm being lazy.
Well, there we go. That's the question.
So, why? I'm thinking Texas. Why do you think in Texas the rates would be double down there of what he would pay in Minnesota?
Hurricanes or fire, depending on the region.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I mean, like all of these, it's hazard insurance. It's what are the big external hazards that you're going to be facing.
Right.
So, insurance is based off of rebuild cost. And, he says that if he was buying here, it would be worth basically twice what he paid. So maybe the market locally there is depressed a bit. I don't know what the rebuild cost on this house is. It could be $400,000 or it could be $900,000, right?
Okay. So I looked up where Laguna Vista is on the old maps here. Let me zoom out. Where is it at here?
Is it right on the coast or is it like central northwest Texas?
It's right on the coast. It's very at the southern tip of Texas. I mean, he's literally, he can almost walk to Mexico. It's that close.
Hurricanes, other weather like that, I think is probably your primary risk. In that
South
region.
Padre Island. I mean, it's like right next door.
So obviously that's going to be a significant rating factor. We've seen, like, for instance, in Florida, a whole bunch of carriers are pulling out of that market where they're just saying, we're not writing any new business. We're done until things change from a regulatory environment that we can basically shield ourselves from these costs, or we're just going to leave because there's so many humongous storms that are generating claims. So that's a big piece of it. The other big crux of this question is what's the sweet spot on deductible? Now, obviously, that's going to vary a bit from carrier to carrier. We at Paragon, we work with 8 carriers on the regular, but we have a whole bunch we draw from. But what I would say that I see is there's a big fall off on going up in deductible versus how much you save. Going from a $500 deductible to a $1,000 deductible is a huge difference in premium. Going from a $1,000 deductible to a $2,500 deductible is a substantial difference in premium.
But not as big?
But not nearly as big. And going from a $2,500 deductible to a $5,000 or a 1% or something in that territory is generally a pretty small difference. Like the amount of risk that you take on, the company likes to see that for sure. Carriers are all about it. Anything that they can do to reduce claims volume and reduce the likelihood of them paying out a big claim and every piece of it. But most of them, once you get past that 1 to 3%, I would call it penny wise, pound foolish personally, because you might be looking at, like if your annual premium is $4,000 a year on a house like this, right? You might be looking at a savings of $100 a year of going up multiple percent of the house's value that you carry.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, it's like, yeah, exactly. After a certain point, it makes almost no difference.
Right.
So you can get quotes. We can do quotes that say, 10% of the house's value, its rated rebuild cost is your deductible, which, for a $400,000 house, that's a $40,000 deductible, which means that the only time you're making a homeowner's claim is if the whole thing burns down. And it's probably not going to be substantially cheaper than if you have a $10,000 deductible, which is already a very high deductible.
Right.
So my recommendation is, I think insurance is valuable to have. Alan says that he can afford to self-insure. He could just pay cash to replace it. But if you look at owning the property, if you're going to own the place for 20 years, if you have a catastrophic loss at any point in there, you'll be really unhappy with yourself if you haven't bought insurance that's going to replace the home if it's blown away in a hurricane or burns down or whatever, because you could have paid a few $1,000s a year and have a replacement property, and instead you're left with a hole in the ground and a big chunk of your equity gone.
Right.
So that's the personal choice. If you want to take on that responsibility, by all means, there's nothing stopping you if you don't have a loan on it. And that's the other piece I didn't cover, by the way, is your loan will generally dictate the maximum allowable deductible.
Yeah.
Most of the time for standard home purchases, it's 5% or less.
Correct.
And 5% is already way higher than most people do.
Right.
I think the highest deductibles we regularly see is about 1%.
Gotcha.
And that's,
So he said he bought it for $400,000. I'd be curious on what the rebuild cost of that would be. Because just because you buy it for $400,000, if that thing goes all the way down, doesn't mean you can rebuild it for $400,000.
My inclination is when he says the same house up here would be $800,000 or $900,000. My inclination is that he's gotten himself a good deal square footage wise, or maybe he just means that maybe it's in the middle. But yeah, a rebuild cost house of $900,000. That's a lot to be self-insuring,
right?
Because rebuild cost around here, our starting number for evaluations, it depends on how tall the house is, but it's right around $215 a square foot. That's kind of like our starting ballpark number. Okay. If the house is in poor condition, it might be a little lower. If it's a 2.5-story house, it's going to be a little on the higher end of that. But 215 is kind of like the starting number per square foot.
Okay.
So that's the real baseline cost. And then an insurance carrier is going to go through and be like, well, based on it having hardwood and these kinds of windows and all that stuff, the highest I've seen is just shy of $300 a square foot, which is a lot for rebuild cost, in my opinion. But if you've got a really nice house, and the lowest I've seen on a rebuild cost calculation is about $170 a square foot right now. So depending on the size of the house, you're talking about a lot more than the actual purchase price.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, a lot of factors there.
Very interesting. That would make me nervous, especially being right on the coast there, not having insurance.
I would
at least something.
I feel like for me, it's a given that I would buy at least some form of basic insurance. Even if it's something that you can afford to replace yourself. We see this all the time in auto insurance, where people will say, "Well, I own the car and I can afford to buy another car," and it's like, sure, that's true. You can afford to shell out another $40,000 for another, 2016 car or whatever. That's fine. You don't have to have insurance on collision or comprehensive because you don't have a loan on the car. I get it. But you're saving $2,000 a year to take on a $40,000 risk.
Right.
And generally speaking, I think that that's a kind of silly investment move. But that's my perspective. Yours might vary.
Right. Phone lines are open. What do we got? 651-
You can do it.
270.
No, 651-647-2910.
There you go. And then the text line, Evan?
763-443-5664.
We still got those T-Wolves tickets to give away to the best question of the morning, and we got free tickets to anyone who calls in or texts in with a question to the Home and Garden Show there on March 2nd through the 6th. So free tickets to that to everyone who contacts us with the question this morning. We're here till 8 a.m. We were going to talk about interest rates. So what's happening with interest rates out there? They're going up a little bit. They've gone up actually quite a bit from the beginning of the year. So if you look at the very beginning of the year, we were sitting in the low 3s. Today we're sitting in the low 4s. So you're about 3.125, maybe 3.25 at the beginning of the year. Today you're sitting, 4, 4.125, maybe 4.25. In some cases, obviously it depends upon credit score and loan program and some other factors. But that's the range, right? Low 3s, beginning of the year, low 4s right now. So what has driven all of that? Inflation. Inflation's driven all of that there. You really don't hear much about COVID anymore as far as that holding rates down. Towards November, December, you had Omicron that was here, and inflation and Omicron were kind of battling on who's going to win. Inflation wants to drive rates up. Omicron wants to hold rates down. At this point, it's all inflation at this point. I mean, I really haven't even heard a peep about COVID or Omicron and the effect on interest rates for several weeks now. So that's almost a non-factor at this point. Inflation is just such a beast out there. That is the main driver of why rates are going up. Now, all this craziness over in Russia and the Ukraine, now that's an interesting twist on things, that's actually going to help our interest rates get better. So the worse it gets over there, the better interest rates get here.
I want to put a caveat on this. Probably. There's enough instability in any situation like that that's like, yeah, I think that's the safe money bet, but until we actually see what the market does based on that, we won't really know for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that we will see rates going up and down for a bit here because ultimately inflation and the numbers that are coming out around it, as well as the instability in Europe right now, both are kind of X factors. They're not completely known. Everyone is trying to figure out where the safe place to put their money is.
Yep.
And so we've seen some movement back and forth on interest rates, jumping up and down, but it has gone up.
Yeah. Yep. And so, what do I expect moving forward for the rest of the year here? I always figured rates would hit 4.25 at least at some point. We're pretty much there, right?
Yep.
They'll probably hit now. I mean, I didn't think it would happen this quickly. I figured it'd be a little bit later this year when that happened. So can we see rates hit 4.5, maybe even the high fours? Yeah, I can see that. People got to remember, it was not that long ago. It was November of 2018. Rates were at 5.125.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't have to go back that far when rates, hit, even a 5% mark. Now, it was a short blip on the screen. It was like a 6-week deal, and they drifted back down into the 4s. And then we know from there, they kept on drifting down, and then COVID hit, and then they really went down.
Well, we've been hovering in the 4% range, prior to the pandemic. That was kind of the realm that we had been playing in for several years.
Yep.
With some upward blips and downward blips, but overall, I mean, this is people may have once again become complacent with where rates were, just on the basis that the last 18, 19 months it's been, wow, these interest rates are great, and then it's still around 3%. It's still around 3%. We're back to a relatively normal headspace for the last decade.
Right.
Rates could go up, though. I mean, we always talk about this, but you look back 20 years, and an interest rate of 4.25 sounds real good.
Yeah.
On a fixed 30-year, real good.
I mean, in 2000, that's 22 years ago, right? So the year 2000, I actually have a chart here. We can actually share this.
Oh boy!
It was the average interest rate for the since 2000, and so it shows every single year. In 2000, it was 7.75.
Oh boy!
Was the 30-year, and then it kind of just trickled down to there, and then it would leveled off for a while. Leveled off in the 5.5 to 6 range for a while, and then it kept on going down. And if you look at that chart, where we're at today in the low 4s, we're still outside of basically the last 12 to 18 months. We're at the lowest point, right? So we're still sitting really good. We just all got spoiled. That rates went all the way down to, I think 2.5 on the conventional 30-year fix is the lowest it got. Which is just crazy. And I think that's the other part of why we have such low inventory. If you refinance your house sometime in the last 2 years, and you're sitting at a 2.5 to 2.875 30-year fixed interest rate, and you're like, you know what, we should look at buying a new house. Oh, I'm going to get a 4.25 rate now, and we're at 2.75 in our current house. Is that going to make people sit? It's going to be like, you know what, we don't want to give up this 2.75, which understandably you wouldn't want to, but I think that's part of the lack of inventory here too, is that people are in such a good position on the loans on their house that it's going to take a lot, I think, for them to list and get rid of that 2.75 rate that they might have.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we'll see that'll drive the slowdown in the market too, is not only that piece of it, but also people aren't going to be refining at an aggressive rate. Mm-hmm. Which when someone refis, that also sometimes allows them to then use that equity to be purchasing additional properties. And I think that is going to temper quite a bit as well. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, not to drag us too far adrift here. How much do you think that our market is being pressured by outside investment groups? Because, in my experience, it seems like we haven't seen the widespread penetration of a group like BlackRock Investments and these other gigantic conglomerates quite to the same degree as some other cities seem to.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's true. I mean, I did hear that, they had plans to purchase 1,000 units in Lakeville alone.
I've heard lots of stories like that, but I don't know if they're able to bring those plans to actual fruition.
Right.
Based off of how competitive the market space is here.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what Jason would have to say about that too, because he probably hears more about that type of stuff than I do. But that's just what I hear in the street. But again, I don't see it and live it every single day. I'm on the loan side of things, so I get enough of it. I get a little bit of that stuff, but I'm not on the streets on the real estate side of thing to actually hear what's going on and what's actually happening and stuff out there.
Well, and here's the sales pitch part of it. Your team helps people win offers. So if you're worried about losing an offer, like you found a great house and you're really trying to be the offer that gets accepted, and you're worried that these outside investment groups are the ones that are winning these offers, working with a winning team with a strategy, Jason's team and your team both have great strategies to win in multiple offer scenarios. So maybe that's the solution. Maybe that's why we don't see as much of it, is because you guys are always winning your offers.
Well, that could be. I mean, one of the real estate agents I work with did tell me the other day that he won an offer by showing the listing agent that I was the loan officer of the year for the Minnesota Mortgage Association in 2021. So he basically pulled up the Minnesota Mortgage Association page that had me on there and sent that over with his offer and said, here's the loan officer that we're working with.
Yep.
And he said that the listing agent actually mentioned that. He's like, that was one of the things that got their offer accepted. So it definitely matters. I think, in a broad spectrum, local loan officer that people know versus outstate, online loan officer. I mean, your chances with that local guy is much, much better. Local guy or gal, much, much better than the outstate. And then you bring it down even further, a name that people know. Maybe it's a loan officer that does a lot of deals, and so that listing agent has done a deal with that particular loan officer before, where that loan officer did a loan for a buyer that bought another listing of theirs. They had a good experience. So like, this guy was great. They communicated. They closed on time. Like, I have no worries if we take that offer that thing's going to close.
Well, let's give some context here too. You won that award. Why did you win that award, Mike? How many closings did you do in 1 year, roughly?
2021, it was like 345, 346.
And that's just you, right?
Just me.
Wild.
Right.
For context, I know some loan officers who have been in the business, not as long as Mike, but who have been doing it for a while. And that number for them would probably be about 1/5 to 1/6 as much.
Yeah.
Where they did like 70, 80 listings. And that was a really good year for them.
Yeah.
Because they're busy and they're working for a bank.
Yep.
Overson's team does a lot of listings, and everybody gives good feedback on those closings.
Yeah. So it definitely makes a difference of who you work with on the real estate side of things and on the loan officer side of things, to be honest with you. So if you're in a multiple offer situation, if you haven't got an offer accepted and you're getting a little frustrated, obviously we'd love to help you. So definitely feel free to reach out to us, and we'll do everything we can for you. And we got some strategies that we use to win in those situations. And we did have a text question come in this morning here. This question says, when building a house, what can you expect your interest rate to be in the next year once your end loan is finalized? So basically the question is that if you're building a house right now, your builder's telling you it's going to be 9 to 12 months before the house is going to be completed. What can we expect for an interest rate basically 9 to 12 months from now?
Roll the dice.
Great question.
Roll the dice.
Grab that magic 8 ball that you had back in the day, right? It's probably sitting in a box somewhere. Pull it out and say our rate's going to be higher now, a year from now than today, and see what it says. I know that's tough. It's a tough call. There's some industry experts that think rates are going to come down later this year. So they think they're going to peak around 4.5 and then come back down and actually end in the high 3s at the end of the year. Some think that that's not going to happen. I don't know. I stopped trying to predict rates that far out, especially what's going on today, just because when COVID was here and there was no end in sight, that was predictable.
Yeah, exactly.
We
knew COVID wasn't going to be over in the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's easy to see that far ahead. But right now we're on the cusp of transferring out of the epidemic into the endemic phase.
Yep.
So that pressure is going away. We have the highest inflation that we've had in a long time, but no one seems to be sure if that inflation is going to continue for an extended period or if it's going to taper off. Obviously, right now, the people that are pulling the levers on the federal economy are hoping that it tapers off, but we don't know in a year from now what the situation will be. We have the budding, the beginnings of a potential long-term, drawn-out European conflict, which could have huge impacts on the global economy, or very little, depending on what happens. I have no idea what interest rates are going to do over the next year.
I mean, I think inflation is going to be the main driver.
I think so too, domestically speaking. But like Russia is a gigantic energy exporter. If they are, if they're cut off from foreign exchanges in the way that people are now talking about, that could have a humongous impact on energy costs, which could have other impacts on global markets. A year from now, your guess is as good as mine as far as what interest rates will be. How far in advance of a house actually being done can someone lock in on their loan?
So we have a 180-day lock right now. We're looking to add a 270. So I think sometime in March we'll have a 270-day rate lock option, typically for new construction only. But that's how far you can lock out. Now there's premiums, right, that you pay. So let's take our 180-day rate lock. How does that work? You take what the 60-day rate lock is today. So let's just say for easy numbers, it's 4%. So for your particular situation, your purchase price, your down payment, your credit score, the blah, 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 right, all that stuff, you can get 4% today on your 30-year fixed. So what we do is we take that 60-day rate, we add 0.25% to it. So now you'd be locking in at 4.25%. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, once you get down the road and once you get within 30 days of closing, you have one time to float that rate down. So if you're at 4.25% now, locked in that 180-day rate lock, and you get within 30 days of closing, let's say rates go to 3.75, now you can unlock your 4.25% rate and you can drop it to the lower rate, but you can only do that once, and you have to do it within 30 days of your closing. So that's how those work. A 270, from what I hear, the 270 would be a 0.5% hit to your rate. So you take the 60-day lock today, let's say it's 4 again. You would lock in on 270 days and you'd be at 4.5 because that's the 0.5% there. And then again, you have the float down. Once you get within 30 days, if rates are lower, then you can unlock your 4.5 that you're at, float it down to the lower rate.
So then the next piece of that question is it possible in this market to get a house built in half a year? I would say no. Unless you're swooping in on someone else's deal where they've already broken ground. And, the buyer has had to back out for some reason. Oh, sorry. Actually, my wife got a job in California and we're going to bail on this and we need someone else to take this construction project over. Yep. Which is like the dream. Right. I don't think you're going to be able to make it happen. But still, that does give you a lot more stability in that equation because you've got a longer term rate lock. What will rates be 6 months from now? I don't know, but I'm a lot more confident in where those rates will be than if you ask me the same question about 12 months from now.
Absolutely, so. Yeah. And the other thing too that you're going to see a lot more builders going to spec homes. Versus custom builds. They're taking orders from people. Lennar, D.R. Horton, like the national builders, they've already basically stopped taking orders. Oh yeah. They said, hey, we know what consumers want, and we want to build them faster, right? And so we're just going to build these things and then put them on the open market almost like an existing house, and then come in and, then people can obviously bid on them and things like that. And I know a lot of other builders too, even your mid-tier builders here in the Twin Cities are going to go to that because as soon as you cut the consumer out, right, with being able to select options and things like that, the build cycle gets a lot quicker.
Well, it's industrialization.
Yep.
It's the Model T Ford. You can get it in any color as long as it's black. The simpler you make the whole process from top to bottom, the faster you can actually produce the thing from taking the raw materials on the site and actually putting up a house. Totally makes sense. Because every time you've got we have to get the right tile for the backsplash because they wanted hexagons rather than the standard square pattern or whatever.
Yeah.
Anytime you're making changes, you're waiting on those things.
Right.
And then there's also oh wait, we have to undo that because we did it the spec home way. But what they really want is they want the mahogany floors rather than the maple floors or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's definitely true. We've also seen a couple of questions over the last year of people who are basically the builder is trying to force them out of the deal. I don't know if you remember those. There were a couple, I want to say, just heading into the winter that we got, where the builder was trying basically to jerk the chain of the person that had financed the whole construction of the house to now say, well, we want to increase the price on you by about $70,000. And, clearly because what they really want to do is sell the house on the open market and net that for themselves. Yeah. Even though everybody's got a contract in place.
Yeah. And that when it comes to new construction contracts and how they're written and things like that, I mean, each one is written differently. Each one is individual. It really comes down to, how the contract is written, how it's explained to the consumer so they understand the different moving parts and how things can change along the way potentially. I mean, builders definitely got put in a tough position. So let's go back a year ago, right? Lumber prices were just going up every single day.
Yeah,
right?
That really was like right around this time of year last year, between the beginning of February and like the middle of March, lumber prices almost tripled, I think.
Well, so
it was wild.
For context, so one of the builders I work with, their most popular model, which was their biggest 2-story, their most popular model, before COVID hit, the cost for the framing lumber was about $28,000. Okay, just the framing lumber itself. That went up to October of that year, so October of 2020, that went up to $49,000. January of 2021, that got up to $80,000, and I think it was April of 2021 where it peaked at like $102,000. So in 18 months,
wild.
The framing lumber for that same model house went from $28,000 up to $102,000. And so what would happen is that someone would go in there and be like, hey, we want to build this house, right? We want to build this model. Okay. So we can't lock in prices until the plan is approved, right? And we get the permit from the city, right? And so you go through there, and if it takes 2 months for the borrower to finalize their plans, and then it takes another month to get it permitted from the city, you're 3 months past your original date there. Well, how much did that lumber go up in those 3 months?
Yep.
That was the problem, right? And so everyone's like, hey, today the price of this house is X. But we can't lock in pricing. However, the builder does it, right? So they lock in pricing at different points and this and that. So we can't lock in pricing until we hit this milestone here. Well, the problem is because material costs was just so ramping up so crazy. That's where they ran into the issues. Mm-hmm. And every builder had to deal with it. It was unfortunate that it was moving that fast, but it was just crazy, right? So that's just crazy amounts of movements and increases in costs and the materials. And so I know that a lot of builders did have to go back to people to say, hey, here's the situation. We can't build that house for you at this price anymore because of this is what happened. And so I know one of the builders that I work with, actually all the builders I work with, they went back to the consumers and then basically worked out like a cost sharing. Hey, the cost of this house just went up $30,000 from when we started to now. We're not asking you for $30,000. We're going to ask you for an extra 15 or whatever. So they worked with them to split the costs. So that's typically what happened. Some people had to bow out, maybe because the cost just went up too much and they weren't comfortable with it. Some people stayed with it. So each individual situation was a little bit different when it came to that.
Well, it's working now. We have a caller.
Perfect.
It's a caller for you. Tom, you are on the air.
Hello, Tom, you there? Oop. Hold on, Tom.
Don't know why the phones aren't working. Tom, can you hear me? I can see the bar moving, but I'm not hearing it on the air.
All right, hang with us, Tom, here. Do you want to take his question on the actual phone?
It's not a question. This is Tom Ferris, Mr. Recognition.
Oh,
because he was He was basically going to give you an endorsement saying that his recent refinance was super great. Tom, I don't know what's going on with her phone. I can see that you're connected, and it should be working, but it's not.
Tom Ferris,
Mr. Recognition
Mr.
himself.
Recognition, right? MrRecognition.net, I believe, is his website. Tom actually reached out to me yesterday. While we're trying to work to get on the phone lines here with Tom, so we have every single February, my branch does a charity ice fishing event. It's called Ice Fishing for Bigs. It's there to benefit big brothers, big sisters of Twin Cities. It's Harrison Smith's with the Minnesota Viking. It's his charity that he endorses as well. And so we actually have some like signed goods and game worn goods signed by Harrison Smith that we raffle off at the event. But it's a super cool event. It's on Crystal Lake in Burnsville. So come on down to Crystal Lake in Burnsville today. The registration starts from 11 to 12. Fishing is from 12 to 2. And then we give away the prizes to the winners, and then the raffle stuff from 2 to 3. So go ahead and come on down. You can register right on site. You don't have to pre-register if you don't want to. Come on down and visit us. And then I believe, Tom, you on the phone line now?
I am. Can you hear me now?
There he
we
is.
go.
Yeah,
Now
we can
it's
hear you. Tom Ferris himself, Mr. Recognition, sounds like he's going to be there as well too. So you can come down and to hang out with Tommy.
Well, thank you. I was calling in this morning. I don't know if you heard me before, but I was giving a shout out here. This is unsolicited here from Mr. Recognition about what a great job Mike did on our veteran refinance loan. We got streamlined all the way through. The Overson team did an exceptional job, and I wanted to call and say thank you for that. I was proud to be one of the 346 from all the closings that you do. So thanks, Mike. You did a great job for my wife and I. Much appreciated.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, TJ. Thanks for calling in on that. Are you and Patty going to make it down to the event today?
Absolutely.
So sweet.
I'm looking forward to that.
So you'll see us. You'll see us on there. We have a tent basically right in the middle of the lake. So we got a big like wedding tent type of setup there, and we got a bunch of ice houses, and there'll be a bunch of people running around. We'll probably have, I bet we have probably 120, 130 people show up at this event today. The weather's supposed to be pretty decent, so it's a good time. We got music playing, we got people fishing, we got raffles going on, we got pizza for the kids, we got all that stuff going on. So it'll be a fun event.
Yeah, it should be perfect today. It's in about 30 degrees and clear and sunny weather most of the day. So
Perfect. Well, thanks for the
Thanks
call,
for putting me
TJ.
on here. I'll let you go, but thanks again for the great job that you did streamlining our loan. I encourage all veterans to give Mike a call, at least have a conversation with him. It was a really nice streamlined process, so thanks for that. And looking forward to donating to your worthy cause today, Mike. I'll see you later this afternoon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, TJ.
Thanks, guys.
Yep,
Bye.
take care. Yeah, so there's the VA loan. So the program, there's a interest rate reduction loan is what it's called. The VA offers that we do a lot of them, so we're very familiar. We know how to set them up. It's a great loan, no appraisal needed, and really hardly any documentation needed as well.
Well, all of the VA loan programs are actually really solid options if you can qualify for them.
If you're eligible for VA loan, I think it's the best loan program out there, to be honest with you. If you qualify for them, if you're eligible to get a VA loan, absolutely, I think it's the best loan program out there. And on the refinance side of things, again, this interest rate reduction loan is what it's called, or the IRRL, IRRRL. There's 3 R's in there. Like I said, no appraisal, no income documentation. It's basically if you have a VA loan now, then they basically kind of just roll or streamline it into a new VA loan where obviously you're going to get hopefully a lower interest rate and something like that, and that's why you'd be refinancing. So,
and I also will offer my personal endorsement on Overson's team specifically for these types of veteran loans. I had a friend of mine who was looking at buying a house, and she and her husband do qualify for a VA loan, and they initially just kind of assumed, well, obviously USAA is the company you go with on these things, and they weren't happy with how that process was going. And I was like, you got to talk to my guy Mike. You're probably going to get a better rate, and also he's going to actually be able to answer the questions you have about the buying process right here locally. And she completely agreed. She was blown away by your service, and even though they haven't been able to make the house purchase happen, they're excited to work with Mike and his team at Luminate sometime in the near future. So yeah, I think that Mr. Recognition is absolutely correct. If you are someone who's thinking about either buying a house on a VA loan or using their refinance type program, Overson's team is definitely someone you should be talking to.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that, guys. We obviously we strive for perfection, and we'll settle for greatness. Is that how it goes? Isn't there a line like we want perfection, but we'll settle for greatness or something like that? No, isn't that a thing? Don't wear white before September. Don't eat cheese before noon. What is it?
I mean, all I think of is eat lightning, crap thunder. But yeah, that's not the team either.
Yeah, they get the point. They don't understand. Those old sayings.
The boxing stuff. I don't know.
Right. You know what? We didn't get to our list. We're coming to the end of the show here. We didn't get to our list here. We're going to cover these next week, or this list next week, which is 10 single-family trends that likely will influence home design in 2022. So we'll get to that next week. Evan, final thoughts here? We only got a few minutes left.
Final thoughts. We talked about the most boringest topic, insurance, for like 10 minutes.
So let's talk about that. How do people connect with you?
Well, you can either give me a call. I'm fine with unsolicited phone calls where you just throw me for a loop, and you can call me at 763-443-5664, or you can go to our website. We're Paragon Group of Companies, or you can email me at e.little@paragongoc for groupofcompanies.com. And yeah, if you want insurance advice, you just want a second opinion, I'm happy to do it. It's not a big deal. Insurance is a space that a lot of people have all kinds of questions about, and that's the most fun part, is talking to people about their questions and educating them on the things that they don't understand.
Right.
So yeah, feel free to get in touch with us. You can always go to minnesotahometalk.com and find any of the great partners of the show. We're still on there as Simplified Insurance Planners. That is us. Well, we just killed our sub-brand in order to consolidate everything under one roof. And, of course, you can get in touch with Mike Overson and his team at Luminate Home Loans through the same way, or by just searching for Luminate Home Loans.
Yep, absolutely. ApplyWithMike.com is my personal website. But, again, MinnesotaHometalk.com. You can link. There's links to all of us in there. So we definitely encourage you to visit MinnesotaHometalk.com to connect with us or any of our preferred partners. Thanks for listening today. It's been a great show. We're going to be back next week. We're going to talk about some single-family home trends in 2022. They're going to come out, and visit us in our ice fishing event on Crystal Lake today from 11 to 2.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
See you there.
This has been a paid program. The views expressed are not necessarily those of the management or ownership of SKOR North, KSTP AM 1500.
SKOR North on AM 1500 KSTP St. Paul, Minneapolis, 94.5 KSTP FM St. Paul HD2, and on SKORNorth.com.
Hi. You can lift the bus straight over his head.